This is IGN. How did the Netflix mega hit shape up in the end? This is your IGN review of the Stranger Things series finale by Tara Bennett. Warning, spoilers follow for Stranger Things up to and including the series finale. So, if you haven't watched it yet, stop right here. We'll be here when you're ready. Stranger Things burst into the pop culture zeitgeist 10 years ago to become an instant global phenomenon that captivated audiences for 5 seasons and 42 episodes. An original story from then newbies Matt and Ross Duffer, the Netflix series wore its 80s nostalgia on its sleeve, but it gave us indelible characters and performances that grabbed our collective hearts. As it wound down to its final 2 hours on December 31st, the expectations for Stranger Things to stick its landing achieved the same fever pitch as Game of Thrones and Lost had in the lead up to those shows' endings. As we know, there's no pleasing everyone, but the Duffer series finale focuses on its characters first, and in doing so, delivers emotional closure that makes up for some of its less satisfying choices. While the 2 hour and 8 minute runtime of Chapter 8, The Right Side Up, implies a movie length conclusion, the finale is really the sum of two parts modeled much like Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings Return of the King. Here, the first hour functions as a mega budgeted mashup homage of some of the great action classics of the 80s era, like Red Dawn, Aliens, Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and even TV miniseries It, while the second hour serves as an extended epilogue that gives almost every significant character in the ensemble a goodbye moment of note. As a piece, the action resolution portion hits its high point early when Vecna's The Abyss descends into Upside Down Hawkins, dislodges beloved Steve Harrington, played by Joe Keery, from the WSKQ radio tower, and then goes black. After a dastardly extended beat, Steve is revealed to be alive and snatched back from certain death by Jonathan Byers, played by Charlie Heaton, which goes down as the biggest rush of the whole episode. In terms of bang for our buck, the finale season was a feast for the eyes and ears. In the last episode, the tower sequence, Max, Callie, and Elle finally infiltrating Henry's mind in the Creel house, and the tension-filled standoff in the upside-down Hawkins lab with Callie, Elle, Hopper, and Murray, played by Brett Gelman, are excellent set-piece sequences. And I'm not disappointed that a big piece of unanswered lore was dropped with that mystery Mind Flayer rock, because it led to Jamie Campbell Bowers' masterful performance as Henry watching his younger self embrace the evil within after murdering that mystery man in the cave. It wasn't the circumstances that made Henry into Vecna. It was Henry connecting his darkest heart with the Mind Flayer's intentions, and that's way better than a redemption arc when this much damage has been wrought. And let me add that the Duffers better be prepared for real-world music licensing realities post-show, because the chances of getting a budget again to use the kind of quality needle drops they did in this series may never come again. The episode is bursting with great choices, even outside of Prince's When Doves Cry in Purple Rain, including sprinklings of Cowboy Junkies, Pixies, Fleetwood Mac, and the final emotional blow of David Bowie's Heroes. Heading into the final hour, if you weren't a fan of the multiple endings of Return of the King, you likely felt every minute of the successive chapter endings. If anything feels like it overstays its welcome, it's Robin, played by Maya Hawke, and her radio narration and the graduation sequence. Yes, they function to give everyone in town a last moment in the sun, but by the end, it does start to feel like we're all in those bleachers squirming under the hot sun. Much more successful are the intimate goodbyes, the older kids embracing their futures while still wistfully wanting to hold on to their bond, Hopper and Joyce getting engaged at Enzo's, and the final campaign for the OG D&D gang. I'm particularly happy that the Duffers didn't buy into the series finale bloodbath methodology, where swaths of characters have to go down to elicit audience feelings. Instead, they stayed true to what counted most in their show, their characters and the deep relationships they forged over 5 seasons. Life has already been intensely unkind to Hawkins and every one of its citizens. Giving our heroes and their extended circles some momentary peace and a sense of victory is what a D&D campaign is all about. You spend time building your character up and discover each other's talents and put them into action when needed most. In the end, Often hit points deficient and battered, you come out together victorious and ready for the next adventure. The Duffers never lost sight of that from beginning to end. And that's perfectly expressed in Mike, played by Finn Wolfhard, and his Stand By Me style roundup of how he saw his friends' future. It was a sob inducing, bittersweet way to tie up the profound importance of storytelling that remains the beating heart of this series. Although the Duffers' cake and eat it too closing on Elle is less satisfying the more you think about it. Like, if you're a realist, then Callie's sacrifice didn't give her sister a future, and Elle's choice means she really did live a terrible life of loss and didn't get a happy ending for herself. If you're an optimist like Mike, then you can imagine she lives, but what a bittersweet existence to live alone. However, Stranger Things has always been a modern day fairy tale rooted in Gen X memories of unencumbered childhoods threatened by the realities of imagined evils. That the mythic heroines of the tale, Elle and Callie, were the means by which all of the Hawkins characters except Ted were able to grow into their best selves, that's a story grounded by life's truths and one that was well worth the journey. Stranger Things was a generational event that barreled into a series finale with almost impossible expectations surrounding it. The Duffers certainly evolved into the successful blockbuster directors they so admired in their childhoods, but their enduring legacy will be mostly doing right by a cast of characters who beguiled the globe. The Stranger Things series finale's IGN score? 9 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson, and for the latest Stranger Things news and reviews, visit us at IGN.com.